Okay, everyone, we are streaming. Let us know if you can hear me okay. I'm pretty sure there's no need to make any changes. How's your week been, everybody? Let us know in chat. If you're new to chat, these people here, they're going to all welcome you as well as me, myself, and I. At the moment, it's just me. There will be some other video guests coming in today, as usual, but usually the early show, there's just me. So if you are new here, welcome. This is a Synth Geekery show. What we talk about is synths and drum machines and sequencers and samplers and I guess all sorts of music tech stuff as well, eurorack, modular, anything you like really, as long as it's kind of around those topics. You know, computers, VSTs, we kind of chew the fat on a lot of stuff. It's nice to have everybody here on the early show. There's only a small boutique of you guys that turn up at about 1 o'clock. I am going to keep streaming at 1 p.m. UK time, so I'll keep doing that. Now let's see if we can. We should be able to get sound. So let us know if you're hearing sounds. It's showing in my audio that I'm giving sounds. Good, good, good. We have strings, we have synths. Nice. Analog, digital, all that sort of stuff. I don't know, we didn't really have a topic today. I did anyone notice in the thumbnail for the show, and I don't expect you guys to notice everything, but I didn't post that thumbnail until probably late yesterday for you guys or early this morning for me. Did anyone notice the synth that was in that thumbnail? Let us know in chat if you noticed what that synth was in the thumbnail for today's show, because it is relevant, and I kind of want to talk about this when we get into the show a little bit. Because I kind of feel that sometimes we keep wanting new things, but maybe it's already been done. Maybe it's good enough. I don't know. Do we need new things when the things break? Maybe that's what we need when we need it. Oh my God, he's anti-gas today. No, I'm not anti-gas today. I just kind of think that sometimes inventions are there already. They hit the mark beautifully. We don't really need to get it any better than what it already is. And what I'm talking about, no one's picked it up yet. I will show you the thumbnail of the show just quickly, just to put everyone out of the misery. Not me. Can I do it this way? No, I won't do it that way, I'll do it this way. There's the thumbnail of the show. Pretty obvious now what that synth is because it actually was written on it. So there it is there. If you're wondering, there is the Korg M3. Yes, and I've had this thing for a while. Like, someone might even be able to tell me how long I've had it for. Who follows me? I'm not sure. It's probably 10 years, maybe. I don't know. I've even repaired the touch screen on this. That's how long I've had it. Why am I bringing this synth up? Well, a couple of reasons. One is because it is an absolutely friggin' amazing synth. And a lot of people don't really know much about it. And I don't know why. It's kind of one of the unsung hero synths that are out there. There is so much to talk about this thing. Let me do the nerd thing and give you guys kind of a rundown of the Korg M3 and what it does, right? What it gives you. It's released in 2007, so we're looking at, what are we looking at? Nearly, I don't know, 15 years old. I don't think these came to my country that quickly. I think it was more like 2009, 2010 when they started arriving down here, but they did sell reasonably well for those who want a workstation synth. And at the time, these things weren't doing that well because there was the advent of computers, laptops, they were like going crazy at this particular time. And so workstation synths weren't doing that well. But the Korg M3 is the 3rd generation workstation by, I'll just move myself out of the way so you can see all the buttons and stuff. And they've already proved, you know, to be capable of making workstations Korg with things like the Trinity, the Oasis, and obviously the M1, which was, you know, synonymous with all the dance tracks. But definitely the M3 was not going to be another M1, and that was something that Korg decided to do quite obviously, and this synth is actually completely different to what an M1 is. So it's not like the successor to an M1, it's actually just a completely different beast altogether. Now I'll go through a video soon, sure, I'll show you what it looks like inside, but I've opened up this thing, replaced the screen, as I mentioned before. These touch screens, they do fail. Inside this thing is basically a computer, and we'll have a look at that in a second when you see the inside of it. But what have we got? We've got 120 voice in single mode or 60 voice in double mode, multi-timbral up to 16 timbres. So this is a 16-part full MIDI palette multi-timbral synth. It's got a single oscillator or 2 oscillators in double voice mode. Waveform, like if you want to get into programming oscillators and things like that. Where are we? Has this thing crashed? Weird. I'll turn sampling off. All that pad's crashed there for some reason. Weird. I think it's crashed. Is there an exit? No. Let's turn it off and turn it on again anyway. I think that's probably going to help. Where's the power button? You watch how long this thing takes to turn on. It takes absolutely forever because it's an old computer in here. Remember 2007? What sort of computers were around back then? Yeah, this thing has probably got one of those real basic cut-down computers in it. Anyway, keep talking about the synth itself. It's got 2 multi-mode filters. It's all digital, right? So these are all emulating everything, right? 2 LFOs per oscillator. It's got a common LFO as well, and it has MIDI in, out, through. It's got a 16-track sequencer. There's a sequencer section there, SEQ. It's got the arpeggiator on this thing. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. It's got the Karma system, and it's not a standard arpeggiator. It's like a really kind of crazy, wacky. Yamaha did some synths with Karma in it as well. It's got drum tracks, 617 preset patterns, 1,000 user patterns, sequences, all sorts of stuff there. Plus, you'll see here that it's got the EXB radius card built into it. Okay, cool. Now we should be able to get to things like sequences and samplers. Okay, program mode. So there's all sorts of different sort of modes. So it's got a sequencer. You can actually write complete songs on this thing. I don't know if I would, but you can. The keyboards that they came out with, this particular one I've got is a 61 key, and this whole thing here is modular. You can actually pull this out and separate it from the keyboard. 64 meg of memory, and you can expand it up to 320 meg with the 256 meg upgrade. I don't have the memory upgrade in this. Don't think I need it. The sampler itself, which is what we're going to get into a little bit today, has a 16-bit 48K stereo mono sampler with 11 minutes and 39 seconds of mono sampling, or 5 minutes and 49 seconds of stereo sampling. That's pretty decent. You could sample a whole track, you know, like a radio sort of level track. That's just with the 64 meg RAM. If you have a USB storage device in it, it can sample up to 80 minutes on one sample file in a USB storage device. So it is not limited in that sense. When you think about it, it's 2007, that is really not limited at all. I think the only thing that lets this thing down is the hardware that's in it. And that's one of the things that we may need to update our synths because the hardware gets better or things like that. But in terms of what's in this, maybe the user interface is a bit tired looking. It's definitely not my favorite looking synth color-wise, with the silver and the white and off-white. yeah. What else can I say? Karma technology, I mentioned that. Oh, it does have in the back, you can actually put a Firewire expansion card in this as well. Don't know why you'd need that these days. It's got USB 2 already in it, and it's also got a slot for a USB thumb drive as well. Okay, so that's pretty much the rundown of it. I haven't used this anywhere near as much as I would like to, and I don't know why. I kind of, not really sure why I haven't used it, to be honest. I think it's big and bulky and it's digital and maybe I don't like the sound as much. I don't know. But anyway, so let's have a look at some of this stuff here. So you can, this is like any sort of workstation type thing. You've got a touch screen and you can find things via category. So let's go, I don't know, like a synthy sort of sound. Let's just do that. Now I've just happened to have picked a radius sound, and you can tell that because it's got the radius symbol there. Now, so that sound would not exist if you didn't have the radius card. Now, the thing about the radius card in this is it actually adds extra, another 24 voices to this. Right, now what can we do in here? If I could go back to categories and try synth brass. Let's see if that one works. Okay, so that one isn't a radius. Okay, so this one is actually an M3 synth. You can tell because it's got slightly different user interface kind of settings on this as well. Where you see SW1 and SW2, there's two switches. You can't see it here, but it's right on the left-hand side next to where the whatchamacallit joystick thing is. Let me show you a graphic so you guys get a better look. Because I can't be bothered zooming out. I don't think this camera does it anyway. All right, so on the left-hand side, down the bottom left, you can see there's actually a joystick, which is an XY joystick, and just above it, you'll see there's an S1 and an S2 switch, and down below, there's actually a little touch ribbon strip, so which is pretty cool, actually. There's completely two useless spaces to the left and to the right of the module, but like I said before, that whole module thing can come off, and you can detach it from the keyboard. You actually have to unscrew here to get it out, but yeah, it's not that hard. Now let's play with these switches. So that's with it off. That's with it on, and then SW2. That's me playing with the ribbon at the same time, and then you've got the joystick. So in terms of controlling it, it's actually pretty cool. I don't mind, if the touchscreen was a bit more reliable, I actually don't mind it at all. So, there's a whole bunch of things that you can control in here. Hang on, that's not what I wanted. So you can click on these things here, and it takes you to sample controls. It's got a massive mixing section in this, which I feel is kind of not well done. You can access it through here, but I kind of felt they had access to these sliders, and I kind of felt that they should have done a bit more with these user controls than just this. And if I do move this slider here, it does correspond to what's on the screen. You can also move it with your finger as well. And you can also use the data wheel or the data wheel. So there's a nice kind of interface. I just kind of feel it's a little bit clunky and a bit slow in terms of my, for my liking. But keep an eye on what you guys are saying. Just have a listen to the filter. This is a digital filter, right? So no resonance, cut off all the way up. And my finger is just pulling one of these sliders. It's slightly off to the left of screen here. Let's try some EG. It's kind of, yeah, someone said more like Windows 3.1. Yeah, it is kind of an old, but when you look at it, if we were to look at the video that Roland put out recently of their new Phantom O series synths, they've got a nice interface. There's touchscreen and everything like that, and I'm actually thinking about getting one, but I don't think it's like that much. It's not like it's 15 years of computer development better. Does that make sense? Like, I'll show you guys the Phantom O screen just to sort of give us a, I don't know if we got a screenshot of it. Yeah, this might be reasonable. I mean, obviously it's color, it's a darker background. Oh no, don't do that to me. Hang on a sec, I'm just trying to get the photos to come in. 1 second while I get the photo in for you guys. No, don't replace, just put some numbers there. There we go. Right, 1 second. This is just the Phantom O screen, so it's not this is a close-up of the screen. Just remember too, the Phantom O is the new Roland, it's obviously the Phantom, it's the Phantom O, touch screen like the Korg is. So it's a bit more modern looking, but let's not beat around the bush. It's not like it's a massive, huge, giant leap of 15 years of computer programming to get from that to that. Don't forget too, this may not look the best on camera. I can't see it if I do that though. That doesn't look too bad. Anyway. So yeah, and it's got pads. So if we were to look at the Phantom synth as a competitor, it's definitely not a competitor to this because obviously the the M3 came out ages ago, right? So it's it's definitely not. But if we were to look at it as a competitor in terms of I've got an M3, I'm thinking about getting a new workstation synth. There's the Phantom 6, right? Now let's have a look at it. It's got a touch screen. Is the touch screen bigger than the Korg from 2007? So 2022, 2007. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, okay, I think there's definitely some improvements on the Roland, and we're not comparing Korg to Korg here either, by the way, because we're going to talk about a new Korg synth today, a new workstation that they're bringing out in the news section. I do like Roland's layout, and I do like the user interface. The pads are nice, the sliders are good. You've got the, if you go closer to that screen, you've got those little sort of data encoders there that help you. But really, at the end of the day, it's not like a massive, huge leap in technology, I don't think. And this is kind of what I'm getting at. Have we kind of reached some sort of end, do you think? What do you guys think? Let us know in chat. I think it's a really good question. Have we reached, in terms of digital synths, like workstation synths, I mean, they're just basically bringing computers in, right? Have we reached the end? Have we kind of reached that pinnacle where we're just, do they sound better? Like a Korg M3 is digital, right? But it does have some, let's go into sort of like some of the piano sounds. And no, I'm not a piano player, so shut up. Let's try an on-stage type piano. So I'll just do some chords here. Sounds fine to me. I mean, I was playing an old, wooden upright piano the other day when I went on holidays, and it sounds fine. For me, that gets, like, if you're just wanting to sort of perform on stage, this has got so many sounds in it. Right. So let's go back to the Phantom, right, as an option. So that's what you're saying. I'd rather have a Kurzweil. That K. Is it the 27? The K27, K2700, whatever it is, the new one, is beautiful, but it's actually quite pricey. Compared to this, like the Roland Phantom 06 is actually no different to same size keyboard and everything. It's actually smaller, more compact because it doesn't have all that extra stuff on the left and right. Yeah, sampling wise, all that sort of stuff, yeah. Are workstations redundant? It says, half god, half beast. Let me just highlight that comment. It's a good question. Let's ask everyone. Let's ask everybody. Are workstations redundant? Let's wait for that comment to come up because it does take a couple of seconds. There we go. What do you guys think? Are they redundant? Why do these companies still sell them? Yamaha sell workstations. Yeah, the full Phantom definitely is a better synth. But I don't think you're missing out on a huge amount if you haven't got the budget for the full Phantom. Does that make sense? I kind of feel like you're getting the better keyboard, you're getting the aftertouch, all that sort of stuff, but I don't feel like you're missing out on too much. Cresshead's using his MPC for everything now. He could, yeah. I do want to do on this, I do want to dive into sampling on this. And don't sort of like think I'm sort of an expert on this, but this has got a sampler in here, right? And one of the reasons why I actually probably got this ages ago, I got this secondhand. Great story how I got this, but I'll tell you guys another day. Is the sampling side of it, and it does sample to a multi-part, so you can actually use your sample as a key. Like a synth, a key group type thing. By default, it samples into indexes, so you can see here it's index 1 to 8, but you can, once you do your one sample, you can change it, maps it to all that sort of stuff. And the sampling can be stereo or mono. You can edit the sample, so there's all sorts of edit stuff and things like that in here. So you go page select, and you can actually edit the sample in here. So we'll check out the sampler as well. I think if you are performing live, I think workstations are relevant. And I think, we've got to look at some of these workstations and how real they sound, how good they are. Has anyone performed live with a Korg M3? That's a really great question. Anyone had a Korg M3 and performed live with it? How did they feel? Is the keybed nice on this compared to, say, I know Roland tend to have very plasticky type keybeds on some of their lower end type workstation synths. I wouldn't be so, I haven't tried the Phantom yet because I haven't found one in the store locally here because I live in one of the most remote parts of the world, but eventually one will come and I will get a chance to try it and I'll see whether I like it or not. So yeah. What did Geert say? Geert said, there's just a bigger market for a pub and restaurant performing with a workstation as compared to music creation. Absolutely, absolutely. So if you look at, let's just highlight that. If you look at synth companies and what they sell the most, and I think we mentioned this last week, in terms of who's selling the most stuff, and I think we'll talk about Yamaha, won't we? Until that comment comes up there. So that's Geert's Gert, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Let us know. Gert or Geert? Or Gert. Let us know. There's a bigger market for a pub and restaurant performing as a workstation as compared to music creation. I agree, and I think we talked about last week the MPC key, which was the new product that was released last week, and I'll bring up a photo of that because that wasn't too long ago. Where'd it go? I've just lost it. Sorry, it was in last week's notes, but it seems to have disappeared. Why did it disappear like that for? You guys wouldn't know the answer to that question. Don't worry. You don't have to answer. I can't find it. Anyway, you guys seen it last week. It's the the Akai MPC Key 61, and the Akai are claiming, hey, it's a workstation, so you guys can perform at the pub, and then you've got an MPC at the same time. It's kind of, it's kind of leads to that sort of way, but is it going to be as good as something like this, where you can actually set up, like how quick this thing goes from different combination patches and settings? Like one thing I didn't like about the MPC key, it was so slow. Like if I want to go to a combination setting, literally, I want to choose that one, that's crap. And then if I want to change, like if I'm finished that track and then I'm going to perform another one, I can literally, it's just so... Remember, this is 2007 hardware. Remember, this thing's 16-part multi-timbral. You can have drums. There are drums on here. They're not bad either. Like, I'm not saying these are amazing, right? It's very cheesy, right? That's typical Korg demo stuff. Quick, turn it on, everybody! But, it's very quick, okay? Drums. These pads are horrible, by the way, so. Anyway, yes, you can jam and do drums on this thing. So yeah, it's okay. It's not like, it's not an MPC. But I kind of felt that the Phantom had a better layout. Obviously, it's more modern, so they've learnt. So this is kind of what I'm saying, is things... it's a little loud, yes. These drum kits are like the MIDI type, These combi modes are cool because you can just layer a whole bunch of different voices on here. So you just literally click on that. That's that first voice. That's the second voice. I probably should be showing you this view. Sorry, I'll do it again. That's the first voice. And you can actually change it. It's that easy. It's just literally so scat voices. So we could turn all this stuff off, right? We can solo. Turn the solo off. Right, so it's really easy to use these digital synths. It's so instantaneous, and I kind of felt that where the MPC went wrong is it was just very slow, very, very slow. When you're looking at today's computer hardware, it was kind of a point I'm trying to make. I'm trying to make lots of different points just by using the M3 as an example. 2007 synth, it samples, it's quick. It's not that quick at loading the operating system, and you guys saw it when I rebooted it. But once you're in, it's working, it's pretty damn quick. when you're performing, like on these more modern ones, like the Phantom and that, they're instantaneous to go from one thing to another. I've seen Roland and a few other people demonstrate this synth. So that's one of the things that you'll want if you're a person who's performing at a pub or, you know, one of those sort of synth people that has to have everything on tap, you know. You might be in a band and you are the only keyboard player, so you have to have everything on tap. You have to have just about every sound known to mankind. These sort of synths are what you're going to have because it's easier to take one synth with you. When I say this, it doesn't mean that's what I love doing, because if you look around my studio, that's not really my thing. My thing is sound design and eurorack and modular and analog and all sorts of other stuff. So one of the cool things that you probably want to do is kind of like a progression, right? You want to play your mono stuff and you know, your analog stuff and get that sound that you want, and then sample that into something like an M3 or an MPC or something like that. So that's probably what we'll do a bit later in the show. I think it's going to be fun. To see how it samples. Now, just remember, this was only, what did I say it was? 48K, 16-bit. Yeah. So that technology is probably a little bit out of date, but 48K, 16-bit, you know, you probably can get better nowadays. So that's where, you know, the computer behind it is. I do want to kind of get into the video. Give me a sec. I'm going to show you inside this thing. Like, it's just really interesting how Korg made this thing back in the day. Because when I took it apart to do the screen repair, I actually did a whole video on it. And let me just grab my channel. Yep, 1 second. And then we'll just search in my channel, Korg M3. All right, just give me a sec. I'm just queuing it up. Now, is that going to be, which view is it? I don't have that running. I do have that running. Okay. I don't have the running. This is going to be, just give it a sec for it to key up. There we go. All right, so I'm not going to obviously make you guys watch this whole video, but let's have a little look inside this thing. We go here. So there, as you can see here, I'll use my mouse to sort of point at things. That in the middle there is a PC. You can actually see it's got an SD card up the top where my mouse is scrolling. That's the hard drive. So the whole firmware of the M3 sits on that SD card there. This is a PC here. And then underneath is a synth board, and then you've got your standard audio processing stuff over on the right, and on the left is power stuff, right? And then if I go back a little bit, you'll see as I pull, I think I pull a board off or something somewhere. Where is it? You'll see the EXB radius thing. Where did I show that? I can't remember where I show it. There's a bit somewhere where I show that the EXB radius. The radius board sits in on that panel that is being pulled off right now. So it's like you can access it from underneath the synth without having to take the whole synth apart. But that's basically a PC, right? So this is what I'm saying. You know, it's not, it's basically a laptop without a, well, it has got a screen. It's got a shit screen and I have to repair it. Sorry, you can hear my kids yelling in the background. I do apologise. Just give me a sec. Let me just tell them to shut up. Right, so let's hear what you guys have to say about workstations, because we don't really cover it a lot on the show. I kind of feel we don't give it enough love, and workstations are definitely a big part of a lot of you guys. What chip is it? I can't remember. I think, I can't remember. I need to look at the, I did take some photos. I'll talk to you about it later at Wagoo, because I've actually got some high res photos when I did the screen repair somewhere. I don't know. I think maybe Korg, if I remember rightly, maybe Korg actually erased what was written on the chip. But it's definitely like a Linux operating system type thing that's on there. And if you look at the MPC, I don't know if it's x86 based. It might be. But if you look at the MPC, they're Linux, and there's guys who are hacking them right now. There's guys who have got into their MPCs and SSH'd into it and got shell prompts out and changed the boot screen. So yeah, not really sure. Someone will be able to find. Just Google it, guys. What CPU, what processor is in a Korg M3? Someone will find it. There'll definitely be some sort of. There you go, Xils-labs. There's a forum post. Who knows? Maybe someone's answered it. So someone's saying it's an embedded processor. I remember seeing somewhere in the internet an error message from the M3 and it said it had an ARM processor in the text. So there you go, ARM, possibly. Here we go, there's a thread about it. Let's have a look. Darren's just turned up. I'm not going to read this because I probably can't find it. But what I'll do is I'll link that forum post. Someone can read it so I don't have to pause the show while I'm looking through it. I'll link that in the chat. Someone can read it. There you go. And someone's probably already answered it by the time I got there anyway. So anyway, Darren's here. So let me just get him up and running. Go back to here. Let's put Darren. Darren, where do you want to be? Top right, top left, bottom left?
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Okay, let's put Darren there. Cool, that works. We don't have Andy Brooks. He's down in London, I believe, today with Jim doing the Synth Fest. So I guess it's probably going to be quiet today on the show because all the people in the UK are going to be down at Synth Fest, right? But there's still people here.
That Formula One.
Oh yeah, the race. It's not for another hour though. About another hour away. Whereabouts is it? The racetrack now? I forget.
Silverstone.
It's still Silverstone, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
How you been anyway, mate? Good?
Well, I was all right till Wednesday, and then I started with a blooming runny nose, which has made all my nose dry. Luckily, it's not HD, so you can't tell. And then my nose was blocked up, and I've not been able to breathe for the last Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's still going on. I've had no sleep, so it's just draining me like I don't know what. I feel fine normally, but because I'm not getting any sleep and I can't breathe, you might be able to tell. It's just draining me. So I've not done anything since Wednesday. I've been to work, but I've not been in the studio. I've been too drained, and it's. I was thinking, do I say to Ranzee I'm not feeling so good? But I'm not too bad at the moment. It's weird. It's only when I go to bed and I lie down, then my nose just blocks up so much I can't breathe, and I just cannot get to sleep. So I'm trying everything to get
Sudafed or something.
I've got everything, and I've got everything. I'm taking everything, and it's just not budging. Yeah. And then through the days, it just gets a little bit easier. Still struggling, and then as soon as I lie down and go to sleep, and I've been up early at 5 o'clock each morning, so that's not making it easier.
It doesn't help when you're in the middle of summer and you got a cold. I reckon it's the worst time to have a cold in the middle of summer because
it is.
Yeah, it's just
you just expect them in the winter.
You just season change is usually kind of the most popular place for people to get them because they forget to wear jumpers.
But I suppose a cold's a cold, isn't it? There's no actual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's apart from that.
I'm sorry to hear you got one. I was
supposed to be getting a video up, but I'm not going to get one up in time for tomorrow because it was a special video preparing for something coming very soon, and I've just not been well enough to do it. So
that's okay.
I'm going to have to
we'll give you a leave pass.
I've
You're sick.
missed this
Fair
before.
enough. I think it's fair enough. We have been talking about workstations, and
Yes,
in particular,
I've been listening as I've been wandering about.
Yeah, so in particular, we've obviously been talking about the M3. It's an older workstation. But my question, I've got kind of a few questions that I've asked, but my questions, for those who have joined as well, are these still good enough? Like, this is 2007. The sound of it, I think, is the most important thing that you've got to consider. The user interface and some of the technology things may not quite be there because it's out of date. But the sound of it, is this good enough now? You know, grand on PA's.
I think I heard you saying, are our workstations obsolete? Or, well, not necessarily obsolete, but as in, you know, almost obsolete, I suppose. But I don't think they're obsolete. I just think it's they're not as necessary for people to need as once was. Since computers and they've managed to shrink everything down, like I think someone was saying, they just use the MPC, things like that. Since they've come around, it's not been a staple. I think any club or small band or anything gigging, a workstation back in the early 90s, mid 90s was like, yes, you need a workstation to go out gigging. Whereas now you don't really need that. So I think they still have the place, but I just don't think they're quite as quite as sought as they used to be. And that said, I think a workstation in the studio is still good if you've got a small studio as well. But I just don't think they're quite as they once was.
Sasquatch said he likes
mid-90s, was it?
He likes workstations because you don't have to muck around with a PC and a DAW, and I agree. I agree. As long as the workstation doesn't start to become a DAW too much, like it can have elements of a DAW in it, so that you can get by, you know, like sequences and things like that. But as long as it doesn't want to become a DAW, I think that's where I've seen some workstations. There's you guys in the chat will be able to tell me what examples there are, but there's workstations that literally are DAW replacements, and I think they fail at that. They should concentrate on being a workstation synth, which is more about getting your sets and your songs and everything ready for your performance. That's really their primary role, and they should be able to do that like at the forefront. The sound has to be perfect. The loading of presets, you know, the going from one set to another, songs, all that sort of stuff, any type of sequencing, arrangements, those sort of things, they should be really, really good at that. And then all the other stuff is just frills, isn't it, really? So you don't want that sort of stuff to be dragging down the rest.
Yeah, you want the workstation to be a keyboard workstation as you remember it. Yes, with the better technology, we can improve all this, but still keep that concept of, you know, like your Korg Trinities and things like that. Just that workstation for the keyboard that controls the keyboard, everything in the keyboard, everything the keyboard can do, and then everything else is just a bit of sugar coating. Don't, like you say, don't turn it into something that you can sit at home with a computer and be so much easier with.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's face it, the MPC stuff is getting almost DAW land now.
Well, it is pushing that way, isn't it?
Very
I
close
think that
to
is
it.
the holy grail, though, for some of these synth manufacturers. They want to basically get their keyboard or whatever to be virtually their go-to DAW within that synth, MPC, whatever it happens to be. So people start to come away from the computer entirely, and they've just got their workstation in. But that might be a dangerous way to go. Because we know what people are like for dropping their technology and moving on to something else.
Yeah. Now, a few of the guys answered the question about what processor was in the M3. It's a ARM. So a few people were saying, like Ken saying it's an ARM clocked at 196 megahertz. It's a free-scale MC9328MX1. If anyone wants to play along with that at home, it's an ARM processor. So when you look at stuff, right, this is kind of funny. There was Apple happy in Intel land for many, many years with their, OS X operating system, and then all of a sudden, in the last year or 2 years, 2.5 years maybe, They've just jumped across the ARM now, and they've got these M1 processors, right? So, and the reason why
they was not happy with them, though, was they?
They weren't happy with them.
They've been doing the ARM for a long, long time because Intel said that they were going to make really fast chips, cool, didn't have to overheat, and they could make these. That's why the original really thin MacBook Air came out, and they found out it was overheating, and they realised that Intel was never going to go they wanted, was it?
Intel always ended up with some sort of. It was a voltage thing with Intel, so it ended because it's a voltage thing. Ended up
clocking it higher,
making it hotter,
more watts.
Yep. So they went back to ARM. So you look at that, you think, okay, Korg made a synth, which is basically a PC with an operating system, and it's Linux-like operating system. It is a custom operating system though, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a home-brewed version of Linux on here, just like the MPC is, right? So you can actually grow, you can go into Linux, make your own GUI menu, how it boots. It can boot straight into a menu system. You can do that if you know how to do it. It's not hard. You just watch videos on YouTube. Before you know it, you make your own little tablet with its own booting system and menu, and you can go however you want. And that's what these are. These synths are. Anyway, so I guess where I'm going to is I'm kind of really interested in this synth myself. I'm being very selfish here today, talking about myself. There's a few reasons why I'm interested in that. All right, I'll tell you why I'm interested in it, and there's layering of the interests, and you guys can process it how you want. I obviously love the Roland sound. You guys know that. We were talking about Vangelis the other day, how he was into the JP, the JD80, all those, the JV8080s, everything that's in your XP50.
1080s.
Yeah. And he was big in
Vangelis sounds on there.
Yeah, so that Phantom's going to have those sounds, and I know I can use a PC for that as well. So I love the sound. So it's not about the Phantom having that. It's it's a Roland sound synth. It's got a really, really good sampler in it as well. Guys, watch the videos on it. Like that, the sampling system on that it's actually really cool. It's got Ableton Live integration. It's really, really quick operating system. It's snappy. It's not a slow thing that I've seen some workstations work with. So anyone who owns a Phantom, the original Phantom, not the Phantom O series, will let us know if you're happy with your Phantom, and if you're quite happy with how the operating system works. Because there's a firmware update which gives you some of the new features that they brought into the Phantom O. Yeah, I'm a bit of a Roland fanboy, but not really. So basically, that is kind of one of the reasons, and the other reason is because I am due for a new workstation, because I kind of feel that I will probably move this on, and I'm trying to work out whether is this synth here in front of me, is this still relevant? Is this tired? Is this kind of starting to be a little bit outdated? Like if I said to you, Korg are re-releasing the M1, it's exactly the same. They're just re-releasing it. Do you reckon they'd sell a heap of them?
No, I don't know. Maybe. Well, yeah, probably just for the renaissance of it. It's a Korg M1, yeah. Because a lot of the new people don't remember the old Korg.
So if they had exactly the same
piano, whatever.
Yeah, that's the same really low end sort of lo-fi samples, PCI, that sort of stuff, PCM samples. It is going to be obviously nowhere near the high fidelity and the high sampling rates and the latest technology. It's not going to be there. So if you're after that sort of more pure sound and more higher processing, and that's basically where this probably lacks a little bit. So when we look at how the samples soon, you'll see how it struggles. It's not a snappy Tom thing. But yeah, in terms of this,
I mean, you want a workstation. You say you want to move on to the workstation.
Yeah, I kind of feel like in front of me, having something that's not like just a MIDI controller that just accesses VSTs all the time, because it does my head in. I tell you right now, I am sick to death of having to update, activate, reactivate. Friggin' hell, I'm so sick of it with VSTs. It's like, it's just doing my head in. Seriously.
But your problem here is, Rans, you've got too many VSTs.
Well, I don't have that many.
That's the problem with VS. Well, yeah, but the problem with VSTs is they're a lot easier to acquire than a synth is. When you buy a synth or two synths, you acquire that synth, and you don't get it. When you get VSTs, you go, oh, I'm getting, I don't know, serum. Next day you get pigments, and then you get so many VSTs that you have your problem, where you're constantly having to reactivate things, change it when you change your computer, when you don't actually need all those VSTs, because you don't have all those synths, do you? When you buy sounds for synths, you don't get loads of synths every time you want different stuff. So why do that with a VST? Get the main VSTs that you want and stick with that. And then that way you're only ever activating a couple. That's why I only stick with, I have Serum, Omnisphere 2.
Yep.
And then a couple of free ones. Other than that, I don't use any other VSTs. One, because it adds cost up, and two, like you say, if you change things, it's just constant. Oh, I've got to update this. Now it won't work with my new update on my Mac because they've not updated it. Blah blah blah. But I've only got a couple of VSTs. I don't have a real problem with that. I just treat it like an extra synth in the studio rather than a VST. If you get me?
Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, I've got the MPC as well. So, you know, in terms of that, I could just plonk an MPC in front of me, but that is not an omnibus of sounds. Let's face it, guys. If you've got an MPC, it's not an omnibus of sounds in the sense that it's been prepared for a keyboard player. It definitely is an omnibus of samples, right? And that's a bit of a delineation there. So I could literally just overload terabytes of samples into that thing. It's insane. But in terms of it being a tailored for a key group type situation, it's not that. And that's where the workstations really, really shine. So whether it's another Korg, and we'll talk about the new Korg in the news section, which is pretty exciting, or whether it's the Phantom O series, or we'll even go back and get the original Phantom series, which are bigger and they're more polished. Like this Phantom O is a lightweight version of the Phantom in terms of keyboard and things like that. So, you know, it's not going to be as plush. I don't really care, to be honest. So, in terms of keyboards, this thing's not the best keyboard in the world, but it's actually really nice. You know, I don't even think it's got aftertouch on this thing. Can't remember. I don't think it's got aftertouch. Someone will tell me if it does. I've never ever thought it had aftertouch. Oh, it does have it has velocity aftertouch. There you go. Didn't know that. Does not feel like it though. Anyway, we won't go there. So yeah, so in terms of why I want it, it's more to do with sound palette, ease of use, fast layering, that sort of stuff. Using it secondary as a MIDI controller. This is built to literally to work with today's DAWs, and you can load Roland Cloud stuff on here as well. So there's that added benefit. I've got a Roland Cloud subscription, so that helps. Future-wise, it's probably going to be out of date, maybe 10 years' time. Just like the M3 probably is out of date now. So what I did love about these, though, is the little expansion cards that they made for these, right? So there was a kind of period, wasn't there, where it was a hardware card that you put in, like Yamaha did it as well. You put these little hardware, you know, Roland did it, hardware expansion cards. They were a great idea because you never had to worry about that loading as software, right? It was literally something that was coming straight in electronically from the hardware. So it was instantaneous. So that, you know, the radius stuff on here, as I was showing before, right? So I don't know if this is a radius one. Yeah, so that's a radius one. So if I go to this view, you can see that's a radius. So this is actually being played on the radius card. And the Radius synth, as you guys know, is a great synth. So there's literally no, software processing or anything that this M3 synth has to do to play those sounds. They were cool ideas. I like those. So, yeah. As Gert said, the Roland D50 had expansion cards. They were fun. The FA06 had access to all the SRX cards via an SD card. So that sort of stuff is cool. I like that. Anyway, I think we've kind of asked all the questions and
yeah, the XP has expansion cards, doesn't it? Where you screw them in the back, I can fit 4 in the XP. And
are they like the JV cards?
Yeah, well, it's a JV 1080 or 2080, isn't it? Basically,
yeah.
Keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you do have a Roland Cloud, I know you don't, Darren, but if I'm talking about if you, as in people watching, do have a Roland Cloud subscription, let me just go to Mac land. I was going to go, I don't know if Roland Cloud's working at the moment. Let's go to the XV5080, right? Which is, I'm just going to drag it into a new spot here. So this thing is based, I've also got the 1080 as well, haven't I? Yeah, I've also got the JV 1080 as well. So I'll drag that on there as well. We can look at both of them. So the XV5080 is the bigger version of it, right? 128 voices, and it literally, it's just got an insane amount of patches in here. It's incredible. Like, so let's go to Banks. It's like huge amount of sounds in here that just goes going and going until you get to some sort of end somewhere, right? That's insane. And these sounds are all the famous sounds that we all know and love, right? They're all the famous sounds. Now, the 1080 is what you are used to. So there's Banks, once again. Same sort of thing, right? There's so many. And you've got Cyberpunk. There's all sorts of cool stuff. Anyway, I haven't even loaded half the stuff that you can load on here yet. So that is, and those sounds are all going to sound pretty much exactly the same as what you get out of your XP50, Darren. The only difference will be that it doesn't have the hardware digital to analog converter that's in the back of your synth. Someone will make a plugin that emulates that soon as a VST, I'm sure. So, that's an easy way to get the 1080 sounds. And like I said, I can put those into, I believe, into this. I can load those sounds into this, right? And that then becomes detached. So I don't have to keep it connected to a computer. I can load them in and detach it and then play that at a gig or something. So that, to me, is kind of a cool thing. And you can do that from the cloud. I like that anyway. Let's bring Synth Addict in. We'll get rid of the M3. Boom. Hey, Andy.
Howdy ho, how's it going?
Ooh,
Andy.
Vocal effects.
Here's my M3. Oh, sorry.
It's very, very dark, but yeah, we can set. Let me just go full screen on you. Whee.
I just did that so you can actually see the screen well.
Yeah, it's hard. I've been trying to work out how to get it looking good.
It's a decent little color screen. So it's,
yeah, has yours ever had a problem with the touchscreen though?
No. And what's cool about it is, a lot of people don't know about the XY mode. Did you show that yet?
Oh, I haven't shown it yet. No.
Yeah.
There's a button.
You can do the is it this one here? Yeah. So if you let me see if you can hear that. Can you hear this? Okay. Maybe certain presets don't have it. For some reason, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Hey, let me just show it on this. It works on the Radius preset. Here we go.
There you go.
It is pretty cool. That does remind us of other synths, though, doesn't it?
Sadly, I literally just turned this thing on after I don't know how many months or maybe even a year.
I know.
Or two.
I know your pain.
I love the unit, but it's just I'm rusty as hell on it.
Yeah,
so.
and that's how I'm feeling today. I've had this. I literally knew that the show was coming up today, and I told you on the email that I was going to have a play with this, and I'm still thinking to myself, I want to sample, right? I want to sample in this tonight while we're doing live stream, but I think it's just going to be an absolute train wreck. But anyway, we'll try it.
I think I did that once. I forgot how to do it.
Yeah. Anyway, I kind of feel like...
One thing that's cool about it, did you show the performance, tweaking the sounds? Did you show that part?
I haven't showed hardly anything, to be honest. I've been crapping on about workstations.
One of the really cool things about it is using the real-time controls to just create crazy crap to the sound.
The sliders, yeah. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, so if you put it in this real-time mode, let me turn off the Karma off here. It depends on the preset. Your mileage may vary, but you can go from like just casual tweaking to just whacked out crazy stuff. Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a good sounding synth. I mean, we're asking the question before, Andy. Do you think the synth still lives up to being a good enough sound for today's needs? Do you think it still produces a nice professional sound?
I think so. I mean, it's basically a baby Oasis. So these quick pads are not only drum pads, but also chord pads that you quickly set up for different chord settings that you prefer on the fly.
Yeah.
The Karma engine's amazing on it. I mean, I have an actual Karma keyboard, which was like the first one that I really have it on it. This has even better Karma on it, I think. And of course, the motifs had Karma and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I really bought this as a band in a box thing to come up with quick stuff for making videos and even short films I was planning on working on that I abandoned basically, because with minimal amount of effort, you can easily make decent sounding stuff that's fairly canned, but still good enough to be something good for a video. Professional enough sounding without having to bust your ass just for a couple minutes of music or whatever. So I that's why I originally got it for, and I started tweaking with it and figuring out the kind of part mute effects on it and setting these tweaking these sliders on the fly, things like that, to kind of come up with performance ideas. But I ended up just using it as a just something to mess around with, and especially the Karma stuff, just having fun with it.
Yeah.
But I think it sounds great. If you like the Oasis, I think it sounds the same as that pretty much, with minus some engines, and still relevant to me. I'm sure Ken Spong would agree it's still nice because he's into the Oasis. So.
Yeah, definitely. And you got a latch thing too, which is pretty cool. So you go to the this thing here, the latch button. You can just see where my finger is. You can actually just hold a chord. It'll just keep that playing all the Karma stuff, and you can just. Sometimes it doesn't work. So like sometimes the Karma things across the whole keyboard. It's not split properly, and you can change that. It's all in here. You've got your Karma.
Yeah, the Karma scene buttons are cool too. You can quickly go through and
these ones
have
here.
A nice build with those Karma scene buttons.
Yeah.
And of course the part mutes across the top, so you can take things in and out of Karma.
There's some really some sounds in here that you just wouldn't think this thing would be capable of doing. I don't know if I can find it.
I guess my only gripe is I have the radius card in there, and it's always a pain to address it.
Yep.
You have to basically make presets to address it properly, kind of like on the old JD990.
Yeah.
Addressing the analog card or whatever you put in there. And it's like, oh boy, it's not that fun to use that way. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. Let's get out of me. I don't want to. I'm trying to find. This might be. Is this it? I don't know if it's this one. These are the scenes that they're talking about. So it's not bad. I mean, that guitar sounds like a synth guitar. Some of the other guitars sounded pretty good on it. So
yeah, some of the guitars are some of the most telling sounds.
Yeah. You've got a synth.
And that's probably how they're performed, really. Because obviously, I've heard older synth guitar that sounded pretty decent.
Yeah.
With worse sounding guitars. So it's whoever recorded those did kind of a crappy job on that.
I wonder what the XY station's like. Let's try that.
Yeah, it's like a wave station.
Anyway, back to us. I don't want to bore you guys with my crap. There was definitely.
This was a fun one. This horror world, if you like horror movie music and stuff, you know. Some of these buttons don't have all the.
Yeah. That is cool.
Good stuff.
It is. It's fun. Dreaming with there's heaps of nice program combis in here. They've done a really good job with some of them. Some of them you could literally fiddle with the Karma and you could literally make a track out of it. That's how good they are.
Also, you notice I don't have the keyboard itself. This is just the module. I basically got this as a deal with the whole bundle. I think I added the card later. The radius card.
I added my card later.
Yeah, it's hard. The one thing is tricky is I passed up on a couple good opportunities to get the key bed. The key bed has a cool joystick and a ribbon on it that I wanted. I didn't really care about the big ass key bed. Like the 61 key would have been fine, but they're getting harder to find. Unfortunately, last couple times I looked. So someone did like a Wagyu job and chopped it, so it was actually a much more shallow key bed, which is kind of clever. That I was tempted to get, but I missed it. So one of these days I might get a key bed for. Otherwise, I use that as a module.
So that's the 61 key version. If you've got the 73 key or the 88 key version, there's two other versions obviously, you can actually fit the radius module next to it. And in the back of this, you can actually plug your radius into this actual, not the radius card, but the actual radius module as well. And you can have the radius module sitting side by side to this. Here I am showing this and I was pointing to this in the back of this here. By the way, mine is a 61 key. So I've got the joystick on the left and everything. Yeah. And with I've got the radius as well with the keyboard as well. So, you know, I don't think, to be honest, one thing I don't really like is when you go into programs to actually kind of, you know, standard synthesis on this. I kind of feel with these slider controls, there's really not a lot of synthesis control, which kind of does my head in, because, you know, this has got a really powerful synth engine in it, and it would be nice to have, you know, all your standard sort of controls like filter, resonance, ADSR for maybe a combo ADSR. Now this does have some, you know, like a user control. So it's got 4 user controls. You could then program that to be ADSR. But this is what I'm saying. It's a pain in the ass. You've got to keep doing things like that. So I kind of feel it misses some of those features. And then when you want to do other things, you've got a menu dive, right? You've got to go into the menu side of it and muck around that way. Which I
if I'm going to do that, I just hook up another MIDI controller to it and get it all set up.
So this is how you go into, you know, mucking around with the menu, which is really, really kind of annoying. If you want to play with the oscillator, do you see? It's almost like you're in like the settings of an old computer type thing. So I kind of feel that's lacking. But you can tell you're in a radius one because it's got the 2 oscillators, right? So if I was to go into a different patch and choose, say, classic choir, I don't think that would be radius. No, it's not. And then you go into the editing of that. You can see it's a different. See how it's a different editing page? I'll just move that. Sorry, there we go. It's a different editing page when it's not a radius. So it definitely does pick up the radius stuff on the radius card, so which is handy. But like I said, it's just kind of annoying. You don't really get where were we there with there. I don't even know if that's a radius. Okay, so then we go to here, and you can see that's definitely a radius patch. So completely different oscillator page for the 2 because it's accessing the features on that card. And then filter. So all the stuff that you can do on a radius is there. It's just, I just kind of find it annoying. If that was a M3 patch, you'd have 2 filters, but because the radius only had 1 filter on it, do you see that? So there's all these kind of interesting things. What you were saying before about one of the things this can do that's really, really powerful, and I haven't seen a lot of this, and that is the routing. Have you played with the routing in yours? So you've got, you know how you've got
a while ago, yeah.
You've got your user effects channel. I think you've got 2 user effects channels, and you've also got a master effects lane, and it really shows it actually the sampling side. I don't know if it's going to show it to me here. I don't think I'll go into it too much, but you can basically route a sample coming in live to your effects buses in this and process it and then resample it, which is insane. So when it does have some really powerful features that a lot of people don't realize it's got, and like we're talking about 2007 technology. Anyway, we're crapping on too much about the M3. We're going to be crapping on a bit more about it later.
Like here's a pretty patch. There's lots of pretty stuff on here, as you would expect in a workstation thingy.
Yeah, that's a good patch, the Balinese Joy one.
Modulation there. You get pretty trippy with it. So that's not so bad, right?
It's a good fun patch, that one.
A quick fiddle and go into some weird territory. It's kind of fun.
We went.
But the one of my favorite things is their orchestral stuff. As a super orchestral fan, like classical music's really my favorite kind of music.
I do like it too.
But I can't play it worth a damn. It's just too many, the whole 10,000 hours plus thing.
Yeah.
And the patience to do it. And so this stuff does really good orchestral stuff. I have to find a patch here that
I'll just do the combi
roll.
one. There's a combi one that's good. Where is it? The mixed strings is good. I'll do mixed strings and you can do something else, okay? I'll show them mixed strings. Because that is actually really nice sounding strings. Let me just go to the M3. I'll just play these pre-designed chords, right? So it's velocity sensitive. So if I hit that again, it's going to be loud. See that? Or it does have karma with this, so you can. So that's pretty good fun.
This is a phone that has some horns in it. I'll play this one here. Hopefully the volume's good. Karma. Sorry, I'm hitting the wrong chords. Little drum rolls in there and kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. Right, what we're going to do is we are going to get stuck into the main show. So, to signify that, we roll this. We like to do things differently here and roll stingers in the start of the show. But we should formally say a big hello to Darren and Andy. So Darren, it's awesome to have you, mate. I know you've been a little bit poorly with your cold. How's your week been, if you can sort of avoid the other part?
Well, other than that, it's been fine, I suppose. Yeah, nothing really much going on. Like I say, I only had up till Wednesday before it hit, so yeah, I've been doing okay. Writing little bits, and not long now. So any Bandcamp members out there, or people following me, should I say, keep your eyes open and keep your ears open. There'll be little bits of information before it eventually comes. But other than that, yes, been fine. But the last 3 days or so, not so good. So I've not done anything, which is a bit of a down really, because I had quite a few things in mind to do. So yeah, but time away from sometimes is good time away. Just when you get back, hopefully you'll have more ideas.
Yeah, you can spend that time in thought. Yeah. Although it's not productive. Yeah, contemplations. Look, rest up anyway, mate. I'm sorry to hear you're not well. And Andy, nice of you to get up at what we call sparrow fart in Australia. That's basically anything before 6 a.m.
After some sort of nap, of course, but yeah, not a proper sleep in any way, but always good fun. So nice to be on the Battle of the M3 shows. So
yeah, Battle of the M3s. Yes, yeah.
But
you'll be able to run away because you don't have a keyboard attached to yours.
Exactly. Yeah, it's put a little inverter on it, and it's portable. So
yeah.
By the way, sorry to hear you're not feeling well, Darren. It sucks to get sick. So.
It's not major. It's just because it's just stopping me sleeping too well. So you end up getting run down over a few days of not sleeping.
Yeah, I got incredibly lucky with NAMM being the way it is, and even though I'm vaccinated and boosted, I didn't have a mask. No one had a mask on there except for a handful of people, and I haven't gotten anything. So I just got lucky, I guess.
Yeah, you were really lucky. I think Chris was saying that he ended up getting COVID. A few people.
Well, at the NAMM 2020, before the world ended, I got the famous NAMM flu or NAMthrax, as they call it, where you just get sick from all the people with whatever they've got.
Yeah.
And that was unpleasant, but nothing like COVID. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway, stay well, everyone. Try and keep all those good things going into your body to try and keep away the bugs. Now. Getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, I do want to say hello to the chatties because they're awesome. And they've been hanging about patiently waiting for the show. So there's a good 35 or so in there at the moment. A bit of a quieter night tonight, I believe, because there's a few things on in the UK. There's like a synth fest thing down in London. And anyway, doesn't matter. Whoever's here, awesome to have you. So I'm just going to randomly shout out to some of our channel members. David's there, big hello to you. Future World Machines, Wagoo, Synth, Native VS, nice to have you, mate. We've talked to some of these people before, like Ken and Geert, and big hello to Steve Powell as well. Cresshead's there, nice to have you, mate. I'm just randomly picking out some names as I scroll through. So if I do miss you, it's not personal. It's just me trying to do it. X101 is there. Good to see you. Asdi Farzi's there. Nice to have all of you anyway. So definitely hang about because we've got a couple of cool things that we're going to do. First, we're going to roll this, which is the funny side stinger. Yes, here we go. Yes, the challenge is real. Snare, 4762, final 2, best copy, 14B copied, better for 37 master.3.
And it's still a shit snare.
Naming conventions, people. Naming conventions. This is how you know this is the best final copy 2 of Master 3 snare. I like that one. What else we got? Oh, yes. The Akai NPC group on Facebook. It just writes itself. I just screenshotted this during the week. Oh, gosh. People having their little rage quits. I sold my NPC 1. I quit. You guys hurt my feelings too many times. I don't know if you meant to say feelings, but I just thought that was hilarious. So maybe he should see a dentist or a psychiatrist at the same time. I'm not sure. Anyway. Sorry to see that you sold your NPC 1. Anyway. This one, I believe, is from Dazza from Down Under, which is the Intergalactic Federation, which I believe is in chat, so big hello to you, mate. Additive synthesis is when I keep adding synthesizers to my collection. Yes. I think we all have additive disease. I like that one. That was good. I think there's another one. I think there is one more. Yes, when you open up a digital synth, this is what's inside. By the way, that's supposed to be a meat pie for all the Americans watching. You guys don't really know what meat pies are. But they usually have like a gravy beef inside them and not supposed to be empty like that.
No, we have pierogies here.
Oh, you got them? Okay, cool. Yes. Yeah, I'd be a bit peeved if I bought a meat pie and it had that in it. Yes. Very good. Favourite meme of the week, gentlemen and chatties?
Ooh, at snare or probably additive synths.
Ooh, yeah, I'm going to give it to
Yeah,
Dazza.
additive's right on the money.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Dazza. Dazza did good. Good on you, Dazza. You did well. That one is also in the synth memes group if you haven't ventured that way onto Facebook. Dare I say, Facebook's a little bit on the nose these days, isn't it, for people? They're all on the other things like Instagram.
And is that Kirby or Jigglypuff? I'm off on my...
I can't remember either,
names,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
Wagyu, help.
Yeah, obviously the Pokemon reference, right? Yep. No. He's just saying hi right now. Why don't we wait for that? He wasn't sure. Okay, there you go. Yay, says Dazza. Why don't we roll the news stinger? Because we do have news. And watch this screw up my titles. Yep. I tried something and it still didn't do that properly. Ah, dear. There we go. Yes, I did sort of kind of mention this earlier, that we are going to talk about the Korg PA5X arranger. That's one of the reasons why I kind of brought my M3 in, my archaic M3. What is this about? Well, why don't we watch a little video first, and then we shall see.
We are very proud to present the new Korg Arranger flagship, PA5X, the most powerful arranger keyboard ever produced by Korg. PA5X has been completely redesigned with a state-of-the-art sound engine and a streamlined, color-driven user interface. It comes packed with thousands of inspiring sounds and hundreds of styles, all instantly accessible through an inviting workflow. With all of this new technology, you can explore rich and unique sonic content that inspires you to create and perform. Hi everyone, my name is Luciano with Korg.
Although, Luciano, you're awesome, we aren't going to be watching the rest of that video. It does go for 13 minutes, so I think the intro was good enough. Yeah, so let's have a chat about the PA5X. Who knew this was coming? This is a bit of an update, really, isn't it?
Here's some old sounds in there. The lower preset from the M1.
Definitely some familiar sounds. What can we tell you about it? I'll tell you the specs, right? And then you guys can add your thoughts after. It's 160 voice polyphony. It's got their new enhanced definition synthesis expanded. So they've always had the EDS system in the previous ones, but this is the expanded one. So it has multi-mode filters and EQ on every track. Each track has insert effects from a huge library as master effects as well. And it's got the waves and the max audio suite. So they're bringing in those effects from that, which is good actually. Along with the tones, you get 130 drum kits with room to store up to 384 drum kits of your own. And this matrix of percussion pads giving you a whole bunch of ways to manipulate your kits and make your own and stuff. There's an 8-inch touchscreen, so they're still going with the touchscreen. Color-coded system, which highlights, there's like LEDs that change colors throughout all the buttons and stuff, and it changes on the screen, so it's kind of intuitive that way. And you can fully mix your whole arrangement and finalize your mix with the Waves plugin. So it's kind of built towards like being almost like a DAW, this thing. It does have a sampler in it too, which does interest me. For sampling, there's 8 gigabytes for waves and sound fonts. There's an SD card slot for continuous expansion. There's a dedicated guitar input alongside the microphone input. And it comes with amp and speaker simulation built in for things like 4-stomp box effects and things like that. So you can, bring your guitar into your synth. And then you can truly own the guitarist in the band. Wouldn't that piss him off? I like that. He won't be able to ask you to bring up the foldback. Anyway, you can do things like dual alongside songs in this. So you can set two different things going at the same crossfade and extends like dual MP3 players and recorders and stuff like that in it as well. It's pretty big. It's got the 61, 73 and 88 key versions. Sorry, 70, what am I saying, 76, 61, 76 and 88 key versions. The keyboards are hammer action and on the larger two, the 61's not. In terms of what else it is, like 2200 tones, there's sounds from Cronus, Nautilus, SV2, all sorts of stuff like that. Anyway, enough about me crapping on. Who's excited about this? Oh, price. Price. You're looking at, where are we? £4,000, or if we're looking at euros, 4,300 euros for the 61 key, and then it goes up to about 5,000 euros for the big one, the 88 key. That's the only other thing I wanted to add.
Well, if you buy that, it's going to take some of your cash from your Moog one.
If I ever get the Moog one, I'll probably be kicked out of the house if I bought that. Yeah, I don't think this is.
Were you
my
considering
price
Moog one, really?
Oh, absolutely, but I don't think I'll ever be able to afford one.
16 voice.
Yeah, it's just way too expensive by the time you get them down here in my country with all the taxes and freight and you name it. It's you'd have to really, really, really want one. Like really want one. It's kind of one of those purchasing decisions. It's a life purchase, that one. Anyway, let's talk about the PA5X. So who's in the chat? Let us know if you've got a Korg arranger and which Korg arranger have you got? Have you got the Cronus or anything like that? And tell us what your thoughts are of those. What do you think of this? It's supposed to be a all-in-one thing. So there's a lot more, by the way, that this thing does. If you watch that video and a few of the other linked videos, they talk about how you can mix in this and sample, and it's pretty good.
So it's now the Korg's now entering the it's going against the Roland, the Yamaha, and I suppose in a way the Akai sort of new MPC keyboard type. So it's going to be in them. I'm not a workstation person, so it's hard for me to say, but it's moving on the technology. It's upping Korg from their old workstation type workstations and bringing this to the modern 2022. Like I say, up against the Phantom and the is it the Moog T-Fix? Is it Moog? The Yamaha?
Yep.
So it's going to be battling between those two, I think, and it's going to be, like I say, I mean, without ever using workstations, it's hard for me to say what we'd be looking for in the two workstations or three workstations for it to battle out against. Is it a similar pricing to the Roland and the Yamaha as well?
So I think with the Phantom, not the Phantom O, the Phantom, it's a little bit pricier, but not much. It's around the same ballpark. And with the Yamaha, I think they're, at the moment, because Yamaha's been in the market for a little while longer, I think they're quite competitive in terms of price. It depends on which model you get. So if you're going with the 88 key with the weighted keys, you're looking at, almost I guess, like, what is it, 4,000, where did that price go? 5,000 euros. So how much would that be in pounds? Just under 4,800 pounds or something. It's a lot of money.
Like
It's a big purchase. Kent looks like he wants one.
Yeah, you're gonna really have to be. Is it? Oh well, they are. It's one of those. You're gonna have to be in the market for a workstation, and I suppose it's going to come down to the feature set, the workflow on the, and how much you're a workstation user. If it's going to tick your boxes. Obviously, for people like me, a workstation's neither there nor there. But for the people who want the workstation, it's just another. The more competition you have, the better. So it's just another. Sort your pennies out and decide on which one.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it comes down, and you could probably talk about this. It's got to come down to the user interface to a degree. The sound is important, but I think a lot of these they kind of capture their history of their sounds. Like they talk about, so Roland talk about their history, Korg talk about their history, Yamaha, you know what I mean? Like, so they'll always capture their history. It's kind of like a legacy. And then it's going to be whether you like that and whether you enjoy the user interface. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a really good job on this M3, being, fairly compact, feature-filled, easy to use for the most part. Any workstation, it's going to be obviously menu divey. There's just way too many functions. The screen is only so big. So no matter how they lay out the sliders, buttons, pads, knobs, whatever they choose to put on it, it's never going to be as cool as an analog or virtual analog type synth layout with all the stuff at your disposal without too much diving. So yeah, they always do it like, oh, let's put this over here, let's put this over there, but it's really just the same stuff, just rearranged. Like kind of like how Windows, every time they have a new version of Windows, look, we moved this here, we moved this there, but it's really just kind of the same crap. Maybe, in the case of these things, different sounds in it and stuff, and maybe some new features, a slightly higher quality converters or inputs, outputs, stuff like that. But it's they're always kind of trying to reinvent the wheel, and other than, I thought this was a groundbreaking box, this M3. Of course, the Oasis was as well. What they're doing now, I don't know. It's not really. If I got anything, it would probably be the Kurzweil 2700. I love the Kurzweil stuff. So, and it has. I wanted to play it at NAMM. They only had one the whole damn show, and it was being used on stage by somebody. There was a vacancy with a sign, and I asked the rep. I go, "Where's the damn 2700?" Oh, they're playing it on stage right now. I said, "You only have one with you." So, that was my only chance to play one because none of the stores carry them. And so I've never actually touched a 2700 or seen one in person, but I probably would go for that because of the legacy of the Vast stuff, which is so great, as well as all the new crap they added to it. It's pretty nice. Yeah.
They're actually pretty decent price too, the Kurzweil. The 2700 is not going to set you back as much as the KA. What would we just call that thing? The PA5X. And I think that some of the higher end workstations from Yamaha might be even more expensive too. One of the things you guys, Sasquatch mentioned the 2700 before. I really probably should have a good try out with one of those because I do love the whole Kurzweil 2K series. They're amazing synths. So yeah,
I think older stuff. I mean, I have the PX racks, and I have I had a K1000 that had problems, but I got the racks instead, and they're old K250, which I love. They're just too big and bulky to have anywhere.
Yeah. So I mean, I could get like a 61 key in Australia. This is Australian dollars, not American dollars. So 61 key for about $3,500. I think that's pretty good. It's about $1,000 my money more than the cheap, the Phantom O, but it's the same price as the Phantom. So and I think there's just a couple of sort of decisions that I would want to make between going Phantom or going Kurzweil. Because if I go Kurzweil, it would be my first Kurzweil ever. I've never actually owned one before. I mean, I've Googled them and YouTubed them and, bought albums like Robert Miles' Children, like that, they're over everything. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So they're an absolute.
Well, the later Tangerine Dream was made with it too. They use it quite a bit.
They do too, yeah.
You hear the presets. Yeah.
Yep. I think Jean-Michel Jarre used it in his Electronica series as well. So, and now all through that you could hear it. And there's some really cool sounds in there, like kind of muted oboes and stuff like that. They're Kurzweil sounds. You can tell straight away. So, in terms of, going back to this one though, in terms of the the Korg. I do like this. I think it's definitely got a lot going for it. One thing that they kind of did this time around, which is good, is they've added some pads. It's the what is it, 16 pads, 4x4, 16 pads. They've got a decent amount of sliders. So it kind of is like, basically this is kind of like next generation Oasis, next generation M3 when you look at it, isn't it? It's got the touch screen. I think the M3 is a 5.7 inch or something touchscreen. So 8-inch touchscreen is a lot bigger. That's a pretty decent sized touchscreen. That's like an iPad. That's a pretty decent size.
The angle's nice too. A lot of things need more angles, like the Akai.
I like that. Yeah, I like the angles. That's nice. And the, so in terms, I think I kind of feel like right now it's a bit of a workstation market going on. It's a little bit of a workstation market war happening. In the last 12 months, there's the big flagship synths are coming out, new ones, to Kurzweil, the Roland, Yamaha were probably first. So anyway, what are the chatties saying? I know Kent was saying that he definitely wants to get one. I don't know, I kind of feel a lot of us, and when I say us, I mean you guys in chat as well as us here on the videos, I kind of feel we're more synthesists. We're more like virtual analog or true analog synths, and we kind of want the knob function, and we kind of want that. So Magoo thinks I've got a gig doing Men at Work and some Kylie covers. Yeah, I'd probably, to be honest with you, mate, I would probably be doing more things like In Excess and Icehouse, and I absolutely love bands like Midnight Oil. They were heavy in the synths, Midnight Oil, believe it or not. So, yeah, go listen to that stuff. Yeah, and the Nautilus is, is the other, as Chris had mentioned, Nautilus is their other workstation synth that they do, isn't it? The Korg Nautilus. Is it the Nautilus? Cronus? No, it's the Nautilus, isn't it? Yeah, so the Nautilus is the next one down, I guess. It's kind of like, it's like how Roland got the Phantom, and then they've got the Phantom O, so it's cut down. Or there's a Cronus, isn't there, as well? Which one? I'm kind of getting lost here. Cronus, is that more expensive? No, the Cronus is the next one under the Nautilus. Is that right?
Yeah, Cronus came out after the Oasis.
Yeah, so the Cronus, then the Nautilus, then this one, the PA5X. Interesting name. All right, we will persevere with everything here, news-wise. I do want to talk about this, Poly-N Tracker. They've released another bit of firmware. These guys are just, like, awesome. If you've bought a Poly-N Tracker, it's a bit like having an MPC. It's like they just keep bringing firmware out for this. And I do want to show you this video once we get it happening over here. Come on. Just wait for this ad to stop. Here we go. There you go. The new firmware update, pretty big update. If you must sort of want to know what's going in there, there was a lot in that. And I guess why I say it's big, it's big in the sense that they give you like a 1.4 gigabyte sound library for free, which they mentioned at the end of that video. And that then turns your tracker into a MIDI capable playable synthesizer with editable CC functions and everything. And as you saw at the end, they were using the poly and play to muck around with it. So the actual tracker was actually generating sounds. So, and obviously there's a few kind of, I love their stuff that they did little quirky things, like a little nod back to the retro world where they got the tracker from. So there's the monochrome theme now. So if you want it to make it look like an old grey screen, computer with a tracker on it, you can do that. Like the Octatrack, I think, was the grey interface, wasn't it? So yeah, what else has it got? It had new delay features with a filter on it. But I think that this MIDI thing that they're doing is really good. So the MIDI synth mode, it turns the whole tracker into an internal synthesizer where, like I said before, there's a whole dedicated MIDI CC mapping template, and you can play the hardware with a MIDI controller or your DAW, and you can actually map the track parameters to the play encoders and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of other new features as well. So who here, other than me, because I've got one, who here, do you guys have a tracker? Any other? I can't remember if you got one or not.
No. I like the idea of it, especially being an all-in-one box like that. I've seen great guys on doing demos of them on hardware jams like John Alchemy and stuff. But the thing that gets me is there's no velocity and no pressure. So you're really just triggering events, and you need to carry some extra gear if you want to have some expression with it. And just with this upward trend of poly aftertouch and putting more velocity on things, it seems kind of odd that they don't have that option. I know they're cutting costs on it, but the Machina Plus is just so damn expressive with the pads and everything like that. The tracker doesn't interest me as much because I'm more about the performance part. But I definitely hear amazing stuff come out of the tracker. So it's a great unit. It's just I probably had more fun with the play than the tracker, to be honest.
Yeah.
But even that doesn't have the expression on it. So
yeah, that's true. Look, just to remind you guys, that's what they look like. They are really kind of well built box. USB-C connection at the back and TF card, SDTF format. And the MIDI is the 3.5mm jack type. I think it's a good setup. What about you, Darren? Are you still kind of a bit baffled by the whole tracker thing, or?
No, I used to, years ago, I used to run the Amiga. Was it Octamed? Not Octamed. Yeah, was it Octamed?
Octamed, yeah.
I can't remember. But it's that long ago, I can't remember. And I probably wouldn't get on with it. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to give it a go. The play looks, I like the look of the play as a sort of all-in-one box. But yeah, so I'm not really I've not really done much on the tracker front, so it's a bit hard for me to say actually. But I like the way they're giving it the old, like I say, the Octamed look. If you wanted it that way, that's quite cool.
Yeah, it is cool. My chair keeps going down. What are the chatties saying? Who here in chat has a Poly N tracker? No, it's not battery powered, Chris said. It is definitely not battery powered, but it is USB-C powered, so you could power it off an iPad, or you could power it off a phone, or one of those, have I got one of those things in the drawer here? Yeah, one of these things. You could power it off one of these things, like a battery, block. This will power it for ages. In fact, I probably even have, I don't even know if I've got a USB-C cable here, do I? I could probably even do it. Oh no, that's not USB-C, is it? It's USB. I need to find a USB to USB-C cable. I don't have one in front of me. Doesn't matter, but you guys get the idea. So you could power it off one of those little brick things. It's not too bad in that sense. Yeah. I can't remember. Steve Elbows has got both now. There you go. Awesome. I wouldn't mind getting the Play. I think the Play would be cool. I actually really like that. I rate it a lot. Okay, now, so if you do have a Polyend tracker, do get yourself that update. I actually haven't put the update on mine yet, but I have downloaded it, and I can let you know that the content, the SD content that you get is 1.395. You might as well say 1.4 gig. And it does take a little while to download. Often the website's being hammered right now, I think, with the update. But anyway, we shall persevere. What else have we got? One more thing, I think, in news to talk about this week, and that's this thing, the MIDI Cake ARP. Now, I kind of, I don't know, like, you guys are definitely going to be sort of mentioning the things that I feel that you're going to be mentioning. It's going to be obvious. But let's just get this video lined up and you can have a look at this. Here we go. All right, so while that video is mucking around and being silly, I will just tell you guys a little bit about this thing. It's basically it's a MIDI arpeggiator. So MIDI based, it gives you 4 channels of arpeggiator that will sync up to your sequences or synths, and it changes intelligently your performance as your performance evolves. MIDI Cake says there's no such thing as random, so they kind of I guess it's probably that sort of those algorithms that have the, you know, the what do they call those sequences that mental blank that aren't
aleatoric,
that aren't random but they kind of sound random. Convolution sequence. I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, so you guys, when you see this, you probably think MIDI Noodler. Noodler was kind of like a really big arpeggiator machine. And then you think Blue Arp, right? Blue Arp was also a really big arpeggiator machine. In fact, Blue Arp is 8 tracks and Noodler was 4 tracks. So a little bit different. I don't know if it's my cup of tea because I've already got enough arpeggiator things coming out of my ears here. But I don't know the price because it's going to be announced later. But does that float anyone's boat?
Yes and no. It's into, like you say, into the Noodler and Blue Arp battleground, isn't it? But we'd have to see the price, like you say. Yeah, I sort of think yes, but then I'm a bit like you. Would I really need another MIDI arpeggiator type thing? I don't know. I'd have to look more into this because I've not actually seen it. It's the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Depending on the price, maybe it would be interesting to come up with ideas. I don't know. I'd have to, like I say, have a bit more of a look at this because, like I say, I've not seen it. It's the first time I've seen it. So, but what do you think, Ranz? Because you've got the Noodler and the Blue Arp, so
yeah,
this coming into the mix. I know you don't need one as such, but what do you think of it? Sort of comparing it to the ones that you actually do have. Or
I mean,
you don't know.
You can never have. You can never have enough MIDI controllers. It's a bit like you can never have enough synths. Let's have a look at their website. It does tell it a little bit more. It's a parametric MIDI arpeggiator. So they're saying that it adds layers to your performance alongside your hardware sequences as well. So 4 generators synchronized with external sequences to track changes as performance evolves. So I kind of feel like I need to understand more about that. Do you know what I mean? Like that, how does that pick up your sequence and then evolve? That's kind of what I want to know more about.
Yeah, this is that's what I'm thinking. I need to know more how it how it works,
Yeah.
how it generates, how it picks.
So you can see here,
yeah.
see how it's got, it's kind of almost like the noodler here, it's got the chord progressions. So it's got the major, minor, seventh, sixth, suspense, you know, it's got that. It's got like a little keyboard on there, I guess, where you could set bass notes and things like that, I guess, octaves. Tiny little OLED display. Yeah, I'm probably with you, Darren. I kind of want to know more about it. More videos to watch, I guess, from these guys. So
yeah,
maybe we could watch this. I kind of feel if you're going to watch it, if we're going to show a video, I think they need to show this like a bit of hardware with it. Yeah, we just watched that before, so no. Yeah, I kind of feel we need to see some hardware.
it's all very well
how does
playing
it work?
melodies. Yeah, it's all very well playing melodies and sequences of it, but we want to know more how it's going to be introduced into your setup, how it works, how it evolves, how it I'd probably be recording melodies and stuff into something like Ableton and then messing about with the MIDI again. So I don't know, like you say, we need to know a bit more about it and its cost as well.
Yeah, so a couple of guys in chat is asking some good questions, like, is Mod-X in a box? Is it like the Yamaha Integra? Says Ken Lewis, not sure. Some couple of guesses on price. Some people are thinking around $400. The Noodler was around just under 400. I think Noodler was around the 360 mark. Don't forget, you can still buy the Noodler. So, you know, this like not that they've stopped making it, and they're even still updating the firmware on that as well. So it's not like it's completely out. Steve Elbow says the Squarp Hapax also has a match chord mode for transposing tracks, which is useful. Yeah, the Squarp Hapax is awesome. That's another thing that a lot of people forget about. Yeah. So, like Darren said, I think we need to know more. What about you, Andy? What do you think about the MIDI cake?
Oh, I'm an ARP fanatic. I mean, I have most of the stuff I bought for years. I had to make sure I had some arpeggiators, so the X Station and the micro Korg and all kinds of stuff, because it's always fun to have that to either whether you latch it or not, just to play with you know, these classic Tangerine Dreamy kind of stuff and other things. But yeah, I have like a MIDI pal. I have even going back to the Oberheim Cyclone, just endless little thingies. I have the Noodler, which I love a lot. They did add some new features not too long ago. I talked to the guys at NAMM about some cool stuff on it. The Noodle Box is another one that kind of has arpeggiator stuff, even it's more of a performance thing. But yeah, this looks the cool thing about this is no real menu diving from what I can tell. I haven't really watched the videos, but a lot of buttons, a lot of knobs, and not a lot of screen action, which is always nice for something you're going to do live jammy stuff with.
Yeah.
So it's more muscle memory and less staring at a screen.
Yeah. The Noodler's kind of like that too.
I think this was a Kickstarter maybe at one point. It looked something familiar. I remember seeing an arpeggiator thing on Kickstarter a while back.
It could have been.
Be thinking of something else.
Yeah. I can't remember if we showed it before on the show. That was what I was trying to
Yeah, it looks familiar, or maybe they changed it slightly in appearance. But
yeah, that could have been.
Yeah, more the merrier. I love having more stuff like this out there. Did you say the price, or they didn't say yet?
They haven't announced the price. No.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately.
That's obviously important as well. You got to know that.
Yeah.
'Cause,
I just want to see a demo where they're plugging gear in that we're familiar with, whether it be a eurorack system or an analog synth or even a workstation or even a laptop with a VST. You know what I mean? Like something where we can say, okay, you're doing that to that sound. All right, I get it now.
Exactly,
Whereas at the moment, it just,
which is exactly what they do with the Noodler demos.
Yeah.
They show you that. So.
Yeah. So when I first got my Noodler, I bought my Noodler. It wasn't given to me or anything. And I did a video on hooking it up to the Roland JDXi because I wanted to see if I could manipulate the chord change feature in the JDXI, which is another cool thing, and you can. And then being able to show how the Noodler and the JDXI work together with chord progressions and through their sequences, it was actually really cool fun. So this could probably do
I use it
that.
with my Virus all the time. All four parts can be played on the Virus right away. So
yeah, that's a cool
beauty
thing.
of multi-timbral. So
could probably use the Noodler on the Korg M3. Didn't even think of that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Although the Karma is pretty amazing already. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. The only thing about the Karma that I feel lets it down is it's a little bit like when people look at it, it's a bit like people looking at DX7s to program. They kind of go, "Oh, wow, this is too powerful." But if you do sit down and work, there's a software editor you can get for it, which still works for the M3. But anyway, we're talking about the M3. MIDI Cake is going to be out. Go check them out. midicake.com is the website, and maybe you can inquire with them about prices and things like that. That is it for news for this week. A little bit quiet on the news. A lot of software and firmware update type news at the moment. So a lot of VSTs coming out, a lot of software, which is always the same. So when there's no hardware, there's like very few hardware things being announced. So I think kind of the big thing this week was the Korg workstation, the Ranger. That was really the big thing. And then it's just firmware updates. Like, what firmware update do I pick? I thought Polyend Tracker. It's the most interesting one because it's added a massive new feature. Whereas a lot of the other firmware updates were kind of bug fixes and things like that. And we did firmware updates a couple of weeks ago with the Akai MPC. I will get back to you guys on the MPC update too, because I still haven't had play with it. I actually went away last week on holidays with my family, so I haven't been in the studio for over a week, so it's hard. Right, Andy, we've got your stuff coming up. You sent quite a bit of stuff in.
Yeah, it was a little busy bee.
I literally haven't, I think I need to refresh this, don't I? I think that was the old one, wasn't it? Oh no, they're the ones that you sent in, isn't it? Yep, pretty sure. Let me just double check. Or have I not emptied out that folder? Just let me just double check. Yep, these are all the ones you've sent in. So that's the ARP synthesizer prototype 16. I thought you sent this in before. Have we done this one before?
No, but I think they had it on ProSynth Network as well.
No, I think we've done this before. I definitely think we've done this before.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's just skip that one because I'm pretty sure we've done this one before. What about this one? The Yamaha DX1, 1983, 100. Robbie Puricelli will be licking his chops right now with this, wouldn't he? $135,000. He's sitting on a literally. He could just go and buy that second house with a Lamborghini. Wow, hey? What do you reckon?
He'll just buy a couple more Fairlights.
He will. He'll buy all the Fairlights and no one will have them anymore. And then Peter will be happy. That is a decent price. That's in California. You'd be able to just drive down to Venice Beach. It's only a couple of hours away.
Oh, yeah. Let me get my wallet out.
Yeah. What is this? Roland Jupiter 6, vintage JP6 clean condition. Oh, the Armin's guys, they actually are reputable dealers in the US, by the way. I should mention that they're based in New York. They do actually
I just love the shot with all the keyboards stacked up.
Yeah, but that's their shop. That's what they do.
The back.
Look, 15 grand for a Jupiter 6 is probably not unheard of, if I'm being honest, because you've seen what Jupiter 8s go for, right? Jupiter 6 have got a different sort of following than Jupiter 8s, but they're still sought after, very much sought after.
Especially with the Europa mod.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd pay 15 grand US though, to be honest. It's really, I just kind of feel like, yeah, I don't know. Where's Kent? Tell us what you think, Kent. Like, you're the one that deals with all this second-hand used gear all the time. Is a Jupiter 6 worth $15,000 US? Is it really worth that? Like, if they're, Yeah, Roland made a fair decent amount of these. It's not like there was only 800 of them like the CS80, right? There's a fair few out there in the world. It's not like they're rare as anything. Let's see what Kent says anyway. Just wait for him to catch up. Glad you.
Yeah, Armin's often has inflated prices. I've been looking at them for years, and sometimes
He's saying that he's sitting.
Really good deals.
He's sitting next to one right now. If I'm interested, I don't know if I'd be interested. Not for 15 grand. Where's my button? There you go. Nope. He goes, I am. No, that's an old one. Setting one. Yeah, there you go. It's working. Let's go back to here. What happened to my picture? Where'd my picture go? There we go. Big City Music. PPG Realizer. I don't even know what this is. Andy, tell us a little bit about this. What's a realizer?
Native Yes would know more, but I believe it's just a programmer for the PPG. So you could I think you could do some standalone programming, then send it off to the synth, but I'm not positive. Yeah.
By the way, Kent said, you guys are watching the chat anyway, so you know he said it already. Just for those who aren't, 7,000 US max for a Jupiter 6. That's what he reckons, and I would trust his word with my life.
Yeah, see, Armin's is overpriced.
Oh, is the DX1 you've got? Is that Robbie's or is that someone else's? Kent, have you got his DX1 there? Yeah, these were like console sort of, desktop based PPG waves, were they? Is that what these were? I don't really know.
Oh, there you go. He says, yeah, they're attempted virtual analog.
Okay. Combined with a Wave FM sampler and HD recording in one. Cool. Native VS is the encyclopedia of all synths. And then speaking of PPG waves, there you go. That doesn't surprise me, that price. Is that Armin's again? No, it's someone else. Buying and selling vintage synths and studio gear for 27 years. Some of these dealers, Tone Tweakers, are definitely a regular appearer on this show. It doesn't mean that they're trying to scam you just because the segment says. It is a price watch segment as well. So we are looking at some synths just get into stupid price, Like if you look at a CS80 now, they're getting into really, really stupid prices now. There's going to be a point where their market will come back. It's like it peaks and it comes back. Don't know about CS80s, but definitely some of this stuff is enjoying the early digital synths, DX1, maybe soon a DX7, but there was so many of those made, I doubt it. I don't know, maybe a DX7 too. Like I've got the FD edition. They weren't that many as the DX7 sold, so they might fetch. Those sort of things will probably start going into new territory soon with pricing. And then we've got what is this? Project Electronic Modular System and a PPG 217 filter. Is this kind of like a bit of a bunch of stuff by, or is this like a eurorack module? What is this? Oh. I'm trying to read
some
it.
modular stuff. I didn't research it too much, but it looked pretty interesting.
It was originally built only for Tangerine Dream. Sorry about the top of my head there, guys. In 1976 from Berlin, and it's got Edgar's PPG 217 filter prototype in it. This is a Tangerine Dream fanboy type thing. So 42 grand. Is that it? Yeah. That is it. What was your favorite? I'll just do a quick run through again just so you can choose. We already did the ARP, so we don't need to do that. DX1, the Jupiter 6.
Well, I do like it.
The PPG Realizer, the PPG Wave 2, or the let's just call it the PPG filter. So it's a lot of PPG this week. What were you going to say, Darren?
I just said I do like the Jupiter 6. It's always been a sort of synth that I've always fancied, but never going to pay anything like that. But you never know. At some point, something like this might be very expensive. Hey, look at that.
Both you and I are sitting on gold mines, aren't we, mate? Hey. Although I didn't put mine in the freezer.
It increases the cost.
Yes. Native VS says the filter thing that we were looking at before is custom designed for Tangerine Dream Encore era. Peter Borman had a massive system with it. So yeah, interesting.
So nice. That's pretty sort of special and one-off.
Yeah, which is probably where it's kind of asking for that crazy price. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I need to tee up something for the next segment, so just give me a sec while I do that. Andy, show us a little impromptu M3 thing while I'm just teeing up.
I found a cool guitar thing with Karma. Check this out.
Yeah, go for it.
That sounds like a piece by Philip Glass. Some squeaky back. Change the RPM. There you go.
Very nice. Very nice.
Go to the same patch, so.
Yeah. I found one that I liked that I was mucking around with earlier today, and some people absolutely cringe at this, which is good. This is one of the reasons why I like it. So it's you know how I was saying before, sometimes the guitar sounds can be not bad. Let's see if I can do this again. Pink Floyd riff there. Woohoo! There you go. So absolutely no guitar skills at all, and it doesn't sound too bad. That's what I'm saying. 2007 synth. Yeah, it was pretty naff. Anyway, while I'm at it, I am going to go like this. Yes, it's time, everybody. It's time for you to calm down and you know, it's here. Don't worry. It's here. This week, you may actually win it. It might not be so hard this week. Yes, it's time for Name That Synth. Now, if you are new here, especially you people watching that aren't even in the chat, what do we do now? We are going to play you a video in a couple of seconds after I stop ranting. It's going to be a synthesizer playing, okay? There's going to be some visuals that are related to that synthesizer, but they may trick you. Your eyes may be deceived, so just trust your ears. Listen very carefully. During that video, you've got a chance to jump into chat and guess what that is. Just type in the manufacturer name and model of that synth as closely as you can, and then I'll give you another 30 seconds after that. So now, this section is being brought to us by Plugin Guru, who makes the Unify plugin, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, just after the segment's finished. So if everyone's ready, are you guys ready? Yep. Everyone ready? We shall go straight to the video. Take us to the video. Here we go. I'll just mute us. All right, I'm going to give you another very long 30 seconds. Here we go. There we go, people. Time is up. Where it says time is up in chat, yes, that is it. Time is up. You have, gosh, I've got to go back through all of these and see who's got it correct. There's a lot of guesses in there. Some people have had multiple guesses. All right, shall we reveal? Shall we do the reveal? I think we shall. I think we shall. Here we go. Oh, Roland JV8080. There we go. Let's just get the pause on the nice focused version there. There we go. Roland JV8080 multi-timbral synthesizer module. Who got that? Let's have a look. Let's go through the chats. Let's have a look through the chatties and see who got it before I said time is up. Let's see. Who's got Roland JV8080? Oh, we've got a JV1080. It's pretty close. Ooh. Roland JV1080 is the closest we've got, but no cigar. Wow. Roland rack something, says Andy. That's not a good enough guess, Andy. But yeah.
I had to put something in there.
Yeah. Wow. So the JV1080, technically is pretty similar. Shall we give it to him? I think I'm feeling generous. Should we give it to who was first that said it? Who was first that said it?
I mean, they're all basically
Style-Lab music
type sounds. So
yeah, Style-Lab music. I think we'll give it to him. He said the Roland Super JV, and then he said JV 1080. I'd say that's a good enough guess. What do you guys reckon? Shall we call it? Shall we give it to him?
Yeah, well, they're all in the same. The JV 1080, 2080.
Yeah.
880, they're all pretty much.
Yeah. I'd say that's a pretty good guess. He was the first to say it, so I know a few of the others mentioned it as well. But yeah. yeah, so that one was done by Eddie, who's F Rose in the chat. So big thank you to Eddie for contributing the Name That Synth this week. So yeah, Skylab Music, send me your details. Send me your email and your real name. Send it to my contact details are in the About section on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to find my contact details there. And then you've got yourself a copy. If you haven't already, let me know if you have, because then we'll have to do something else for you, which I don't have budget for. You've got yourself a copy of Plugin Guru Unify, which is awesome, which is the sponsor of this segment. And let me just go into it now. So this is Plugin... I don't want that. I always press the wrong button. This is Plugin Guru Unify. If you're wondering what this is an amazing piece of software which basically lets you manage a whole bunch of VST instruments all together, and you can layer them. You can, bring instruments from multiple different VST libraries at the same time, all through in the Unify platform. It's really, really cool. It's valued at $79. There's a few other little bits and pieces that you get with the prize as well, which I'll leave for you as a surprise. But yes, Skylab Music, you have won that, and congratulations. And once again, big thank you to Plugin Guru for allowing us to give everyone a bit of a nice prize each week. So yeah, well done, guys. I think that was quite relevant too. We talked about the JVs last week. Hey, what's that?
Yeah.
What did you say?
He said give him as a prize as long as they guess the synth. That is.
Yeah, I think he's pretty close. Like, I mean, JV 8080, JV 1080.
It's definitely close.
Yeah, it's like
it's the little brother of the 1080, basically.
Yeah, it is pretty much. I think like Eddie, you can wear the bragging rights, that you got it. No one exactly got it, but I think we'll give the prize to Skylab Music because I think that's it's a fair thing to do. We didn't have a winner last week. Yeah, Wagoo, you're probably getting us on a technicality there. I think the fact that we didn't win, anyone won last week, I really tricked everyone with the Behringer 2500. Yeah, Skippy Ken is going to be on the show. He's had a chat to me about it. He's definitely going to come on the show. I just don't know when. But every time I talk to him, it's kind of next week or the week after next. So we'll see. He definitely wants to come on the show because he's been on before. And he's dying to come back on again. He's been quite busy. I think I don't know. Was he down at NAMM? I think he was down at NAMM. I can't remember. He's got a pretty busy YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys have seen his YouTube channel. It's massive. He does live streams and stuff every week as well. So you should guys check him out if you haven't. I'll see if I can dig up his link here. Here it is. Let me give him a massive YouTube plug here because I think he deserves it. So that's his YouTube channel. Go check it out. He is based in the US, so he does live streams. I can't remember what he does them. What days does he do them? 4 days ago, 6 days ago, 11. So he's doing almost once every couple of days, every 2 or 3 days. Yeah, just subscribe. You'll find out. His live streams are really, really good. I don't know if you guys have seen it. He's actually had Herbie Hancock on his channel. Did you see that one, Andy, when he had Herbie Hancock?
No.
Yeah, like he's had some pretty decent artists. Yeah,
that's cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So Saturday, so a little bit later on, I guess, in the Saturdays that he's doing them, because it's really early Saturday right now in. Is he in Portland? Is he in Oregon? Is he? Okay, fair enough. So he's the same time zone as you, Andy. West.
But is he awake now?
Is it? Are you guys called Pacific? Pacific West?
Pacific, yeah.
Yeah. He wouldn't be awake. Not at this time. What is it? 8:30? 8:30? No, 7:30.
7:24 a.m.
7:24 a.m. It's very, very early. Yeah, he might be. He might be having his Kellogg's, having a bowl of Kellogg's.
Brekkie.
Yeah. Dear. Right. What else have we got? That's it for the segments. You guys enjoy. I really enjoy Eddie's his Name That Synth. He makes them, I reckon, relatively easy for you guys. Unlike this bloke here, he makes them too hard. Yeah, I know. Yeah, too hard. But I do understand that some of you people that watch this show are really knowledgeable synthesizer people. So I am not even worthy of some of the things that I talk about on the show compared to what you guys know. So I try to make them a little bit hard. You don't make it too easy.
Plus, doing a Name That Synth for me is a bit tricky because most of my stuff's on this. Well, pretty much all of it's on display, so it's sort of a bit obvious.
Well, they won't know it's you, so I don't tell them. I made that mistake early where I used to tell people who the Name That Synth was done by, but I don't tell them until afterwards now. So yeah. So if they don't get told who it is, then there's no way they're going to be able to guess whose gear it is. So that helps.
I might come up with another one or two.
That helps you. Your last one that you did was awesome.
Still just got it though, but I think that was the inside of the dread box.
Yeah, it was. Cool. All right. I think we've reached pretty much most of the stuff we wanted to get through in the show. I do want to take an opportunity just to sort of advertise a couple of things that are just general things for those people who are new watching. I know I do this all the time for those who watch all the time, but this is just purely for the new people. Don't forget about our Discord channel. It's free. Discord is a social media platform which I feel is one of the rare corners of the world that aren't bombarded with advertising and annoyances. So do check that out. I'm in there during the week, so you can reach me and a few other people that are quite regular on the show. Good place to chat if you don't want to always do it just once a week. So there's that. Also, one thing I mentioned last week, which is a new thing that we've done, and that is we've added a new IRC server. Nobody's come into it yet except for me and Wagoo. So Wagoo and I are feeling very lonely in there. So if you're into the old school type of chat systems, IRC is available. It's irc.synthgeekery.com. I'll just type it in here.
I'll jump on there. I do the Sonic State one all the time. So
yeah, I just leave an ERC session running on a VST. So that's the IRC server address, irc.synthgeekery. It's free again. You can jump into there. But if you do Discord, the Discord gets pasted into the IRC, and if you do IRC, that gets pasted into the Discord. So I would just do one or the other, to be honest. I mean, if you're nerdy like me, do both, which is cool. Right, and also another thing that I'd like to do is I also would like to thank all of the people that support the show. Obviously, we'll say thank you to these two gentlemen here, but these people are kind of special because they do nice things like give a little bit of money to the channel. Steve Power, Dominic Hawken, Kent Spong, Rusty Beeston, Mega Mark, JX3D, and then the channel members are YouTube channel members: Homegrown, Andy Brooks, Michael B, Steve Ward, David, Keith and Watford, Kent again, JX3D, Future World Machines, and Roberta Pope. And obviously, thank you to Skippy for sponsoring the synth section. Here we go. As it says, your support is incredible. So awesome. And if you do get a chance, hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, do all that sort of stuff. I know that's a YouTube-y thing to say, but some people forget. You never know. You might have forgotten to do it. You might have been on this channel for years and go, hang on a minute, I haven't subscribed to him. Do that. Also, I will admit, you guys need to check out the description of this video below because you will see links to both Andy's and Darren's channel in the description already there. So they are in there. Make sure you check them out. And also, I need to do one more thing. This is kind of like announcements section basically. If you don't forget,
You'll have to have a thingy for this announcement section.
Yeah, it's like an advertising section, announcement section. I do a blog post after every single show. I do it obviously every week because every show is every week, unless I have a week off. So last week we did the subscriber studios. I do want to show this because if you did miss out on seeing the show, obviously you can go back and watch the replay. But if you want to have a little bit of a longer look at all of the things like you can get access to the video replay, all the funny side that we did last week is there. You can check them out. You can go into those things and check them out. How do I get back? How do I get back? I've lost it. Where's the thing that gets me back? Oh, do I have to click back? That's a bit stupid. And obviously all the news that we talked about last week is there. All the stuff that Andy brought in for the price watch. There's the Name That Synth. Oh, I uploaded the Name That Synth video to YouTube, so you can watch it again there if you want to. And these are all the subscriber all the subscriber photos that were sent in. So it's been captioned underneath for whose they were. So Andy Brooks, you had Makeshifter, Cresshead, David's there, Inverted Pope, Steve Ward. All the photos are there on the blog part, and plus I even did the Vangelis thing, so you can go check out all those Vangelis photos that we looked at are all there as well. So do check that out. It's part of the blog post. There's definitely going to be another blog post again for this show. It'll be Synth Geekery 168. That will probably happen sometime in the next 24 hours when I get off my butt and edit WordPress. I'm sure you guys know about that. Thank you very much to the donations. We've got a chuff from Wagoo, a big £5 chuff. He loves it when I say chuff. The Swiss francs, and a big is it Canadian $5? Wow, I haven't had Canadian from Stylo Music. Thank you very much as well. I appreciate that, gentlemen, and give you guys yourselves a little plug. Andy, thank you very much for being on the show. Anything happening with you in the next couple of days or until whatever?
Yeah, we're working on some new goodies here and there. Quick shout out as well, since you're doing shout outs. Thanks to Ian J. Cole for putting our tracks on his audiophile podcast. That was super nice. So guys, check that out. He has it on iTunes as well as the Podbean site. I don't have the link handy, sorry. And
Ian's podcast, yes.
Yeah, Ian J. Cole, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, thanks Ian for that. We were both in there. You had a couple of tracks in there.
Darren's in there too.
Yeah, Darren, did you see that, Darren?
Jim Glue and Brooksy and all kinds of folks are in there. Yeah.
Did you see Ian's podcast?
Sorry?
Did you? Oh, not see. You can't really see it. Did you listen to Ian's podcast during the week?
I tried to see it, but no, I didn't. No.
All right. How can I link it? I'll tell you what. I'll do.
A specific URL to go to it, but it's on iTunes as well. If you just search Audiophile Podcast,
it is. It's on Ian's YouTube channel as well. What I'll do though is I will link it in that blog post. So that stuff that we talked about before with my website ranzee.com, the Synth Geekery 168, I'll link the podcast in there and give them a thanks for that in there as well. So that will help us. Okay.
Do you guys want one more M3 demo? I found another crazy patch here.
We'll go out in a sec. I just want to give Darren one more chance to. Darren, big thank you for being on the show again, as always. Anything else you'd like to add before we go into?
No, I won't have a video up this Sunday, unfortunately, because I've not had a chance to do one. But just keep an eye out on Bandcamp, because there'll be little information bits and pictures, and you'll get to hear things. So yes, other than that, I'll have a great weekend, and I hope you all feel well. I hope I feel better as well.
Yeah, definitely take care of yourself, guys. All right, Andy and Ranzee, let's jam out with some M3 stuff. How can we do this?
Oh, real quick, one more thing. I put up a quick video. If people like Machina Plus and the Machina Jam, they added firmware to the Machina Plus to let you hook a jam to it, and now you have all the control settings that you want from Machina Jam for Machina Plus. So I put a little silly video showing how you can tweak
awesome.
pitches on the fly and weird stuff you just could not do with the box by itself. So
awesome. All right, let's do this, and then you can switch across to that. So there's 2 M3s. Here we go. The super sax.
Check this one out. This one gets really for the time period.
See you later, everyone. Have a good weekend.